Interview our local high school coaches and high school standouts, athletes from time to time, and we're joined this morning by Mike Bramblett, head coach at Brookwood, about to enter his second season there for the Panthers in Class 6A Region 4. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Good morning. Doing well. Hope you guys are.
Good to have you on. I want to ask you about workouts. You know, getting the guys back and having to work under the guidelines laid out by the AHSAA. I know it's been different, but I know the staff's excited to be working with them. How's it gone so far?
Well, it's going really well. I mean, yesterday was actually our first day. We were told that our start date had to be June 8th, contrary to the state being June 1st. So there was some confusion about that. By the time we were told, hey, you can start on the first, it was too late to get all of our paperwork and physicals and everything else done. But so we just finished day 2, and we got several new coaches on staff that are learning our kids. And, we are thrilled with the effort and the intensity that they're bringing to everything that we're doing right now. And, we had several coaches comment, and I noticed it as well. It's totally different right now or at this point than it was at this time last year. So we're really, really excited about that.
What, 2 days in now, just how is it, has it been an issue with the social distancing, the mask, the wiping down of equipment, or has everything gone pretty smooth?
Well, it's gone pretty smooth for us because, number one, we haven't even been in the weight room. Okay. We're doing all of our strength workouts outside or in the gym because the way we would have to structure it to get our groups of 12 in during that period of time, there's no way we could make it work with our kids. But, it has not been a problem. We've got kids that are stepping up and, in leadership roles, and you hear them all day long. Back up 6 feet. Mm-hmm. So we're really stressing the social distancing, making sure that everything is available to them, in terms of hand sanitizer, or anything that they may need. So we haven't had any trouble with it as of the moment. So,
Coach Mike Bramblett with us from Brookwood High School. Do you sense that because of the way everything occurred with the pandemic, I know a lot of your football players also play spring sports, suddenly, boom, it all ended. They were sent home. Nothing normal in terms of the spring semester at any of these high schools in the state. Do you sense because of that happening, and then, there's been some doubt as to whether or not we would even have football in the fall? It's looking good for it now, obviously, but do you sense even more energy and enthusiasm from your kids, just excitement to be back and to be out there because of what happened back in the spring?
Oh, without a doubt. And they are excited to be back together. And, sure. We've gone several months without that. But, we fight the urges of a number of them, high-fiving and wanting to hug somebody, yeah. and just trying to keep them apart. But, and that's kind of to me, a characteristic of who we are, is that, we've got 90 kids, that love each other, and, they want to be together, and they want to celebrate each other. And we can't do all that right now. We got to find different ways to bring that out. But, I think losing the spring sports and, being separated, for those couple of months was tough on everybody. But, we had a very intentional plan, during the entire shutdown. Our coaches were, in touch with our players every week. We had team leadership groups that were in touch with their, 8 or 10 players every week. They had all of their workouts for conditioning to do. So there was contact between, players every week, coaches every week. So it's not like we're just coming back in and starting from scratch. And I think that's really kind of helped facilitate where we are right now to make it run smoothly.
Brookwood head football coach Mike Bramblett with us on the Ready Mix USA hotline. When you left Hillcrest as a defensive coordinator to take the Brookwood job, you knew what you were up against, a program
Sure.
that's been struggling for a long time. You did manage to win 3 games last year, which is a start. Now you're into your second year. You've had a year in the program. What is better about having a year under your belt there now than when you took over last year, and how much have the kids improved, and in terms of understanding the system, how much better is it to be in year 2 than when you first came there and took over, kind of learn the lay of the land, so to speak?
Well, certainly we feel that things are much better. Being familiar with your coaches. We've got three new coaches this year that are fitting in really, really well. But, there's a level of trust that's been built. There's a level of expectation that's now understood. And the idea that little details make huge differences. And we've got some new kids that are out that have not been with us before, or 8th graders that are moving up as 9th graders, that over the last 2 days that have figured out just how important it is that their hand is behind the line, their foot is behind the line. It's not touching it; it's behind it.
Yeah.
And then that you touch the line, you don't miss it by an inch or 2 inches. You touch the line, you do it again. And they understand the expectations that go along with that. And certainly the kids that have been with us, through this process, we could not be more proud of the ownership that they're taking. That not only are coaches, monitoring and staying on top of exactly what we're talking about here, but you've got other players that are holding guys accountable.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how we do it. This is how we do it. Touch the line, finish through the line, break the tape, whatever it might be. So, we feel really good about the direction in which we're heading. We feel like we're going to be, much improved. Our numbers are better. Our kids are stronger. They're faster. But with that, you got to, keep in mind the region that we play in. In my mind, it's probably the toughest region in 6A. And when you're going up against, Hillcrest and Paul Bryant and McAdory and Vesper City and Hueytown, in Northridge as region games, you got to realize we've got to be perfect, with our game, or as close to perfect as we can be to have a chance in some of those games. But the success that we're looking for, we want to win every game that we can win. We're going to work to do that. But we feel like, the things that we do on a daily basis in impacting our kids and creating what we call real men, as that develops, everything else is going to follow along. So we've got, we like our non-region schedule. And, as we met with coaches this morning, I said that this is the year that we have got to win a game that nobody expects us to win. I'm not talking about just be close and compete. I'm talking about we've got to find a way to win a game that nobody expects us to win. So, it's been a long time since Brookwood's won an area game. No, excuse me, a region game. Tells you how old I am right there. But, so we've got to find a way, to break through the door and win that first region game. And we'll let things take care of it from there. But, we're not focused on wins and losses. We're focused on getting better every day. And if we're getting great effort from great people that hold each other accountable, then we're going to have a chance to compete. And that's the direction we're going. And more importantly than the wins and losses, all of those are things that will stay with these guys for a long, long time. And that's the difference that we're looking to make.
Visiting with Mike Bramblett, head coach of the Brookwood Panthers, here on the Gary Harris Show on the Ready Mix USA hotline. You kind of stole my thunder on your region, because I agree with you. I think 6A Region 4 is an incredible region, all great football programs. And I also just love the symmetry of the region. All the schools are close, and great rivalries are built in. And you're right, it's tough, But the good news for you at Brookwood is if you can compete in that region and you can qualify for a playoff spot or maybe push for a region championship, when you get into the state playoffs that you can play with anybody.
Sure, without a doubt. And, there's great teams, but, man, there's great coaches.
Sure.
And, every team in this region, is very well coached. They're going to be prepared, every Friday night. So, again, we're trying to build our program the right way here at Brookwood to be able to, not only compete, but be able to win, in that region. And, we've already, we have the mindset that we've got to do things a little bit differently than everybody else does, in what we're able to do and how we're able to use the kids that we have. But our kids know right now, and they've known that they have a commitment from our coaches and our staff that we're going to do everything that we can, from a football standpoint, to put them in a position to compete and have a chance to win.
All right, Coach, before I let you go, you're a coach. You got an athletic family. Your 3 boys, all athletes. Jeff played baseball at Alabama and professional baseball. Is he still involved in professional baseball? And if so, who's he with and what's it been like for him this year with no minor league baseball? What's the update on Jeff?
Well, he in some ways he is involved, in some ways he's not, because he played in the Frontier League last summer, which is an independent league. Was their reliever of the year, had the best year he's ever had in baseball, signed a free agent contract with the Arizona Diamondbacks in September, and went out to spring training, was out there for a week, was with their AA team at that point in time. He was looking for that opportunity to be able to compete. They shut it down, in touch with their coaches and managers every week. And then about a week ago, when the mass roster reductions took place, the Diamondbacks released 90 guys, and he was one of those. So, and they kind of laid it out that we don't know what the future is going to look like. We want you here. We want you back. But the problem with all of those is if they had kept them on their roster as a minor league player, then they would be obligated to continue paying them. So, they had to make a business decision. And, the morning that he got the phone call about that, he probably got 10 other phone calls after that saying, hey, as soon as we get everything straightened out, we know where we're going, we want you. His plan is to take a shot at it, continue to go. Just really proud of the young man that he's become and how hard he's worked and the example that he's set. And, all we're praying for is an opportunity. And, he said, it'd be one thing if I'd gone out and been really, really bad in spring practice, spring training, and they let me go. Hey, I'm done, not a problem. I don't feel that right now.
No,
he's back. He's fighting for it and working every day.
Good for him, because this has just been it's just been awful this year for those minor league players. And Jay, the punter at Notre Dame, was with you at Hillcrest, and man alive, what an opportunity for him, and he's off to a good start in his career. Is he back in South Bend now? What's his status?
Well, he leaves Sunday, headed back. They report Monday to start their off season, and we had to drive up probably 2 weeks ago and clean out his dorm from the spring that we had not been able to get back into. So he's been home the entire time, and he's in the weight room and working, and working on his skill set, and so we're looking for a good year out of him. He had a good year as a freshman. Certainly know he can be better, but he found out that there's a big difference, in punting in South Bend, Indiana, in October and November than it is in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, in October and November, because the temperature and the constant wind and the rain is like a killer. So he's having to learn how to adjust to all that. Again, they did a really good job with their special teams. Ryan Poley really proud that he has a chance to play for him there. But, their net punting average from the year before Jay got there and last year, actually went down pretty good last year. So, we're excited about the opportunities he's going to have. Thankful for them as well.
Yeah, great stuff. To start as a freshman there at Notre Dame, that's big-time stuff. Well, Coach, we appreciate the time, and we'll be visiting it again, but good luck with your football team there in your second season at Brookwood.
Thank you, Gary. Proud to